Good evening, YouTube, BookTube. This is Johnny. It is a Friday, so this is a Friday Reads and a used book haul. The other day, it wasn't yesterday. Anyway, I went around the thrift stores around where I live, and I picked up some thrift store books. Having a cup of tea. I think it's just right. Not too strong, not too weak. So yeah, it's a Friday Reads. It is 8:17 at night here in Southwest Michigan. It is January the 18th, 2019. Existence keeps flowing by. So tomorrow's a Saturday. We're supposed to get here in Michigan, we're under a winter advisory where we are predicted to get snow tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. So my wife wanted me to drive her to work tonight. So I drove her to work. But, the hospital where she works at, it's a community hospital. It's only about 3 or 4 minutes from where we live. And she was saying as I was driving her to work that she has nurses there who drive from all over the place. Grand Rapids, way out in the country. And she feels so blessed that she just 3 or 4 minutes from where she lives. Years ago when we first moved here, she used to walk to work before we had 2 cars. Because I had to drive the car in the morning, and so she would have to walk. Because then later on, and as the years unfolded, we got a little car. I can't remember what it is now. So we had 2 cars then. I still have the van. I have an old Dodge van that's almost 27 years old that I drive around. And my wife has bought a Subaru station wagon, a long time ago, a number of years ago. So yeah, I drove her to work, pick her up in the morning. The last video I made about Bruce Springsteen. I showed you this book I got at a thrift store, Racing in the Street, the Bruce Springsteen Reader, edited by June Skinner Sawyers. And I've been reading it. I'm kind of like, well, to be honest, I'm kind of depressed. I'm going through one of my, I was wondering why I don't feel well the last couple of days. I just feel kind of that I don't feel well. And I figured out I'm going through one of my, I feel depressed. And I can't really get, I noticed that when I get depressed, I can't read in the mornings. I can't focus, I can't concentrate, I can't get into anything. So, so I tend to read here and there all over the place. I don't really focus on anything because I'm just kind of out of it. So I've been reading Racing in the Street, the Bruce Springsteen Reader, and one thing I failed to mention when I was showing my Bruce Springsteen collection, that, well, first of all, we don't have a record player. We did years ago. But I bought these at a garage sale a number of years ago, these 2 albums by Bruce Springsteen. I love the covers. Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run cover. And then I have Born in the USA. These are kind of like iconic album covers. So someday I might get, I've been debating whether to get a turntable since 3 or 4 years ago I bought a new stereo system. Big, huge, loud speakers because I like music really super loud. And the stereo I had it for about 10 years and it was kind of worn out. So I went and got myself a new stereo, spent a lot of money. I think I bought speakers, $500 a piece on speakers, something like that. $200 or $300 a piece speakers. And I bought a new receiver. I bought a new CD, you know, kind of thing. So, but I've been my oldest son says you can just get a turntable. But the problem is there's no place to put a turntable in the living room unless I get a new thing for our TV. We have a big, huge flat screen TV that our son bought us a couple of years ago for Christmas, but I don't know. But going back to Bruce Springsteen, that I failed to mention that I have a brother. I'm the oldest of 5. There's me, Johnny, then there's Michael, then there's Robin, there's Robert, and there's Danielle. Now Mike and I had different fathers. My father's last name was Keene. Michael's father, who we never really met him, but he's on my brother's birth certificate, was Williamson. And Michael Williamson is a photographer for the Washington Post, and he's done books. He does the photos, and he has a writing partner named Dale Maharidge, and they've done books over the years, different projects. And one of the things they did back in 1985 was this book, The Saga of the New Underground Journey to Nowhere by Dale Maharidge, photographs by Michael Williams. Now Michael Williams is my brother. And he did this photo expose on homelessness. And what they did, Mike and Dale went underground. They lived like hobos. They hopped freights. They lived in hobo jungles. They stayed overnight in flop houses. But Mike took photos. He had a little camera that he took photos with. And he interviewed these people. You have all these photos. And, well, to make a long story short, Bruce Springsteen was doing an album. Well, I forgot to bring it out here. I showed you, it was he did this album called The Ghost of Tom Joad. And he was inspired. He was at a bookstore and he came across this book, this book by my brother and his writing partner Dale, The Saga of the Underground Journey to Nowhere. And he read this, and some of the songs in the album, The Ghost of Tom Joad, it says here, and you see this in this book in the back. It has Dale Maharidge, photographs by Michael Williamson, Journey to Nowhere, The Saga of New Underground, The New Underclass, Doubleday, 1985, a contemporary version of The Grapes of Wrath. Springsteen wrote the introduction to a revised edition. The stories told in the book directly influenced the writing of the song Youngtown, The New Timer, both of which appear on the album The Ghost of Tom Joad. And this is the other edition that Bruce Springsteen wrote the introduction to it. And on the back is a picture of my brother right here, and in the middle is Bruce Springsteen, and there's his writing partner Dale. And that's my brother right there, Michael Williamson, who works for the Washington Post. And yeah, Bruce Springsteen had this republished and revised, and he wrote the introduction. So yeah, my brother once told me that Bruce Springsteen invited him on to, let him come to one of his concerts, went backstage and met him and all that, and took photos with Bruce Springsteen. So I just thought I'd show you that to you. So I've been reading Bruce Springsteen, Racing the Street, the Bruce Springsteen reader, reading the early... I read an interview back in 1974 when he was just breaking onto the scene. The album Born to Run became a major hit. Then you had Born in the USA, and he skyrocketed to international fame. So as far as I did read yesterday some stories out of Greasy Lake, the other stories by T.C. Boyle. I read some stories out of there. I got out today. Somebody, one of my booktubers was talking about the crime fiction writer Richard Price. The Wanderers was one of the earlier ones. This came out in... first published in 1974. I found this morning. I was downstairs and I was looking for something and I came across it, and I was looking at this today, The Wanderers. A deeply moving account of the confused and spiritually underprivileged youth, quoting William Burroughs. The Wanderers, a teenage gang in the Bronx of the early 60s, are just trying to stay alive and maybe have a little sex. But it's not going to be easy. They're facing a murderous parents, unimpressed girls, an all-Chinese gang, and a pack of mute Irish maniacs, apathetic teachers, and a 10-year-old cold-blooded killer. Will the Wanderers be alive a week from now? Will the girls come across? This is a fantastically powerful and funny fiction, psychological realism to a doo-wop beat. So... I got that out to look at this weekend. I also, today I volunteered at the Book Nook and I read some stories of Clarice Lispector, the complete stories. I read a couple of stories out of that today and probably read some more throughout the weekend. There's no football this weekend. That's all over. We have the Super Bowl coming up. No. What we have is the divisional titles and then the Super Bowl. That's this weekend. So I probably will watch some football this weekend. I also got out this. I showed this last year. I was reading this, the Diaries of Emilio Reyes, the Formative Years. This is a fiction. It's called autofiction. It's kind of like autobiographical fiction of a diary of an Argentina writer in his early 20s. His formative years. This is by Ricardo Piglia. This is translated by Robert Croll. Reason why I got this out is that the second volume, The Happy Years, the Diaries of Emilio Reyes, the Happy Years, it has come out and I have it coming in the mail and I wanted to, so I've been reading this yesterday and today. So that's my Friday reads. Now what did I get at thrift stores? Well, I found this book. I have it already. Thomas Mann, Death in Venice, The 7 Other Stories. This cost me 25 cents. I got it because I like the book cover. And what I do with the book like this, I put it in my van. I have a whole back, in the back seat of our van, I have what you call a roving library. If I see a book that I like and that I have and I like the cover or I like the book, I buy it if it's really cheap and I throw it in the back seat. So I'll throw this in the back seat. This is a book I read a couple years ago, The History of Reading by Alberto Manguel. And I have this already, but I'll put this in the back seat, Roving Library. This is a really good book. I read it a number of years. I don't know. This came out in 1996. So I'll put those in the back seat of the old Dodge van. I also got this. I wasn't sure if I had it in my Salman Rushdie collection, The 2 Years, 8 Months, and 28 Nights by him. So I'll put this in the roving library. And then I found this book at a thrift store right near where we live. It's called the Tyrannicide Brief, the story of the man who sent Charles I to the scaffold by Geoffrey Robertson. This is it's like a legal brief on the trial and execution of Charles I and the Cromwellian Revolution in England during the time of the Puritans. Cromwell, that's why I got it, because I like British history, especially 17th century English Puritan kind of history, British history. So I got this for my Puritan British history collection. And I found a novel by David Lodge. Now, when I got this, I wasn't sure if I had this one. I collect David Lodge, and I didn't have it. I was kind of pleased with myself. This is David Lodge, A Small World. It says, Invasion of the English Professors. It's an academic conference season, and all around the globe, a prefab dorms in providential England, in luxury hotels in Jerusalem, in the underground chapel of Heathrow. English professors are on the loose. In this second installment of the Delight trilogy of academic satires, I like academic satires. David Lodge began with Changing Places and ended with the Booker Prize Nice Work. I don't have Changing Places, but I have Nice Work. The sun has not quite set on the sexual revolution, while political correctness has not yet reared its humorless head. Join old friends Moore, Zapp, and Philip Swallow, along with a memorable, somewhat oversexed cast of dozens, including a beautiful and mysterious conference addict, a blue-blood Italian Marxist sadist, and the embittered American novelist in his uncomprehending Japanese translator, as they convene on the conference circuit to compete and couple and attended the occasional lecture. So that sounds really enjoyable read. I found another A.S. Bryant novel, A Whistling Woman. A Whistling Woman portrays the antic, thrilling, and dangerous period of the late 60s as seen through the eyes of a woman whose life is forever changed by her times. Frederica Potter, a smart, spirited 33-year-old single mother, lucks into a job hosting a groundbreaking television talk show based in London. Meanwhile, in her native Yorkshire, where her lover is involved in academic research, the university is planning a prestigious conference on mind and body, and a group of students and agitators is establishing an anti-university. And a nearby therapeutic community is beginning to take the shape of a religious cult under the influence of a charismatic leader. Sounds like up my alley. Also, I found the crime novel The Whites by Richard Price, which I found I have. So I'll take this to the Book Nook Friday. I found this is a nonfiction, The Red Queen, Sex and the Evolution of Human Nature, a New York's notable book by Matt Riley. Then I found a novel by Sebastian Barry, which I didn't have in our library. I collect his writings. This one I didn't have, Days Without End. And then today, for volunteering at the Book Nook, I brought home. This book has been all over the booktube. I have not read it. It's called Washington Black by Edugyan. I can't pronounce the name. Has it been translated? I'm not sure if it's a translated work. Anyway, I saw it at the Book Nook. This came out in 2018. It was on all kinds of literary prizes at Best Books of the Year, so I got that. So that's it. That's the book haul. That's what I've been reading on a Friday. That's what I plan to read throughout the weekend. Like, I've been reading this tonight, and I'll probably listen to some music by Bruce Springsteen. I don't know. Or I might just sit in the dark and feel depressed. I don't know. So Not much else. I got books coming in the mail, some used book. That's about it. Don't really have much to say. I don't have my diary here. I think I'm on page 47 in my 2019 diary. Like I said, I'm kind of out of it, depressed. I fell the other night on my left side and bruised it severely, so I'm in pain. It's part of when you get old, you start stumbling around and falling over stuff. Well, I'll sign off. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the subscribers. And yeah, I don't know what I'll do next as far as a video. So, hope I'll just sign off. Have a good night. Bye.